This is just beautiful. Look at that. Hey everybody, it's Chris, and this is our third in a series of videos from Narragansett, Rhode Island. Today we're in Point Judith, which is part of the town of Narragansett. And Point Judith is cool for a lot of reasons, one of which is Point Judith Light, the awesome lighthouse. And if you don't believe me, there it is. Isn't that awesome? So Point Judith is also home to a Coast Guard house. Let's zoom in a bit. Right there, that's an active Coast Guard station. That is the absolutely beautiful lighthouse. That is an operational lighthouse, as you can see. But there's so much more to this area where we are, which is kind of, they used to call it Camp Cronin. There are also, believe it or not, World War II era defense installations. That's part of what was at one point called Fort Greene, I believe. So the jetty you're looking at right now is part of an Army Corps of Engineers project that protects what is right there. That's a harbor of refuge. We're gonna walk out on that jetty and get some awesome views. Just below us is another part of those defense installations I was mentioning. There's another one right there. I believe that's an old pillbox. Let's get a little closer. This is another one of those places that's kind of a hidden gem. I say hidden. In the summer, on a weekend in particular, it's very busy here, but it's not like the more popular public beaches that attract throngs of people. So this is a fisherman's memorial here. And you can see, well, I'm gonna get up close to this. Isn't that something? Look at that detail. You can see people leave little things here. Isn't that neat? Oh my gosh, look at that. I love it. Someone's glasses. Isn't that amazing? It reminds me of the Flight 93 9/11 memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. I was living in Johnstown, Pennsylvania shortly after 9/11 happened, and before they built the monstrosity memorial that's there now, there was just a little makeshift, it was really a camp. Look at that. It was really just like a camp, and on the fence there was an abundance of those little mementos that people would leave. Isn't this cool? Just awesome. Look at that. I don't know what that was, but... And there she is. Wow. We're gonna get some great views from her when we're on that jetty, that breakwater. So this area, see, there's the jetty we just saw from above, but this area is still known, I guess. I thought it changed its name at one point, but this is known as Camp Cronin. See how it says the Camp Cronin fishing area? We'll get closer. So Camp Cronin was owned by the city of Providence, and we're probably 30 miles from the city of Providence, but it was a way to, but it was a place that they could bring, you know, inner city folks, kids and camps and whatnot, and experience the ocean, even though Providence is quite a ways from the ocean. Now we're gonna jump on this breakwater because it's such a cool place to walk along, and we're gonna get awesome views of the beautiful lighthouse. Now, walking along this is a challenge because if you slip, if you stumble, if you trip, this rock is not very forgiving, right? So we don't want to kill ourselves today. So one of the things I love is how the surf hits these rocks here. And then when it pulls back, it makes the most awesome noise. Now, about a year ago, when this channel was a motovlog, we took a trip to Block Island. which is 12, 13, maybe 14 miles south of Rhode Island. It is part of Rhode Island. It's the town of New Shoreham, although we call it Block Island. But anyway, we took the Can-Am Spyder on the ferry. We drove around the island, saw some cool lighthouses and Mohegan Bluffs and all the rest of it. And I mention that because we are walking and facing south right now. And if we look really closely, just beyond that beautiful boat right there, that mound that you see in the distance on the horizon, that is Block Island. You can see the bluffs right there. Isn't that cool? And the boat is headed to Galilee. Well, it looks like he's headed to Galilee. He'll enter that harbor of refuge right there. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Galilee Channel. So on the left of the breakwater, obviously, is the ocean. You can see it there. On the right is this beautiful beach. And even on the most beautiful summer days, and I'm shooting this in late May, and I'm shooting it on a weekday, it doesn't surprise me that there's just a couple of people there, and they're fishing, as you can see. But even on a beautiful summer day, there aren't many people here. Again, it's like a hidden gem. But this beautiful beach is facing that protected harbor, the harbor of refuge. So you don't get a lot of waves and whatnot. So it's probably a great place to bring little kitties and not worry about things like riptide and undertow and all the rest of it. To put it into perspective, I'm going to pan back to where we started to see how far we've come. Not that far, really. Again, there's the beautiful lighthouse, but this jetty extends all the way out there. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, so now we're approaching the end of the beach here. We're nowhere near the end of the jetty. I'll zoom in. You can see how it extends all the way to right there. We can see a fishing trawler going by. The fishing trawler is heading into the port of Galilee. But let me pan now. So we're pretty much, you can see right there the point where the beach ends. You can see we're right close to land, right? The beach is right there. There you go. But look how far we've come. And it's like we're out in the middle of the ocean when we look this way. And there she is. I'm going to start to make my way back. I want you to hear that sound the water makes when the tide is pulling away from those rocks on the beach there. I don't think this is high tide right now, but I love this. Watch this wave crash. Isn't that awesome? Now imagine that when the tide is high and the surf is high. And so now listen to the sound the waves make when they pull back from the shore. I'll be quiet. Isn't that awesome? If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you have any comments on anything we saw, anything we talked about, please put it in the comments. If you're not a subscriber to the channel yet, if you would subscribe, I sure would appreciate it. And until the next video, thanks again for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.